sing till you get anointed and you don't quit. Hallelujah. 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 You came on business for the King. Hallelujah. 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 So God wants us to every once in a while look in the mirror and check ourselves to see if we are a Jew or a Samaritan. I don't want to be intermingled with idolatry. I don't want to have things in my life that are so important that they're constantly pulling me away from my fellowship with God, pulling me away from my walk with God, pulling me away from working in the kingdom of God, or pulling me away from being faithful in the service of the Lord. Amen. I don't want any of that idolatry to be a part of my life. I want to set my eye on that prize. Hallelujah. There's a prize before you. It's the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. And when we see that, we press toward that mark. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Amen. In the Jewish, in this social day, among the Jews, in the Jews' eyes, this woman would have been considered unclean because she's a Samaritan. So why would a Jew ask for a drink when he don't have a cup from a woman that's unclean? Well, the scripture tells us why. Because it's midday, and because he's traveled far, and he's weary. Amen. And so he doesn't look at who she is. He doesn't look at the social status that says you should forgive this one and not forgive this one, or you should love this one and not love this one. He don't pay any mind to that. Right. What he pays mind to is, I'm thirsty, she has a cup. And if I allow her, or if I address her about giving me to drink, I'll end up giving her a drink. And so he reels her in. She knows that he would never drink from her cup. He's a Jew. She can't understand why he would even speak to her. He's a Jew. She can't understand why he would speak to her if he knows she's had 5 husbands. And watch him reeling her in, little by little. This is not like any other Jew I've ever seen before. And so he captivates her. And he gets hold of her because he sees in her that, like I was saying, the thing that has caused her to go from one husband to another and now have another man that she thinks is going to answer all of her problems and fix everything wrong in her life, that all of that is motivated by a thirst that's misguided. I became a heroin addict because I had a thirst that was misguided. I thought drugs was going to satisfy my life. I thought being a part of this group, it was the 70s, being a part of this group was going to satisfy my life. But none of that satisfied me. The very people that I attempted to be a group of is the same group of people that when I overdosed wouldn't even carry me to the hospital. They was going to get rid of my corpse and throw me in the Ohio River in Louisville. And so the relationships and the friendships, that didn't fix it. And all the drugs that I did drugs until I overdosed 4 times. I did more and more and more and more and more. And that didn't satisfy me. I overdosed on LSD and on MDA and PCP, which is a horse tranquilizer. What was I thinking? I had no brain. And then eventually on heroin that about took my life because I kept doing more and more and more and more because of a thirst that was misguided. You know what I think? I think we have family members. I know that I have family members that have gotten misguided down through the years. Not because they were bad people, because they were so thirsty. And their answer to their thirst was misguided. I became a heroin addict because I thought the answer to my thirst was the things that I was seeking. I think you have family members, you have children, maybe your husband or your wife, or relatives in your family that are in all kinds of a mess. Not because they're bad people. They're just thirsty. If they really knew that this was the answer, they'd be doing
Yeah. Oh, yes.
If I would have known.
Thank you, Lord.
If I would have known that what I was reaching for, doing a little bit more cocaine and a little bit more MDA, and a little bit more, morphine or Dilaudid or Dimmer or heroin, whatever it was, trying to get a little bit higher and a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and find that place of peace. If I only knew that exists here.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Hallelujah. Bless the Lord. Hallelujah.
That it doesn't cost me all that money. It's not gonna take my life away from me. It's gonna give me life.
Right.
If I'd have realized that I could get up on a Saturday morning,
Yes.
and get ready,
Yes.
and come out to a building on the side of the road,
Yes.
and come into a room with nice carpet and nice pews, and sit down, and in just a moment, the King of Glory would walk in the room,
Yes.
like he did this afternoon. I sat on the front pew when you were standing all around the altar. I sat down on the front pew to pray and just wept and wept and wept and wept. You know why? I'm not depressed. I'm not discouraged. I'm not in a storm. Yeah, we got trouble with our vehicle, but it's a vehicle. Hello, you just fix it, go on.
Yes.
Amen. But not any of that. I wept because he came in here.
Oh, yes, you did.
He came in here.
Yes. Yes.
And I realized that for just a moment, he had come in to listen to us.
Oh, yes.
He wanted to hear what our petitions were.
Hallelujah.
He wanted to hear our praises.
Yes.
He wanted to hear us brag on how great we think he is and how much we're in love with him. And so he walked in the room and stood and listened to our voices. And we were very aware that we were in the presence of the King. And even though that on the outside of this room there's issues in that parking lot, there ain't no issues in this room. Hallelujah. 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 And so I'm telling you, if I'd have known years ago that you can just come into the presence of the Lord, and it doesn't even have to be here, it just so happens that it will always be here. But sometimes in my house, I have a little room in the back. It used to be a bedroom, and I turned it into a little office. And I have a computer back there, and it's where I take care of the ministry and the mailing list and all that, pay our bills, whatever. And I have a little TV sitting there where I watch Hallmark movies while Ronnie's watching fishing shows in the living room. And so I go back into that little room, and I have a little couch-looking thing. It's not a couch, it's just a little piece of furniture that I can crawl up, and it's got pillows all over. I crawl up on that thing and swing my legs around and get all nestled back in those pillows and lay a Bible on my lap. Or I don't even have to lay a Bible on my lap. He knows that's my room.
Oh, yes.
He knows that's my room.
Yes.
And so I shut the door and I crawl up on that piece of furniture, that little couch-looking thing, brought my feet up and bowed my head. I don't have to say a word before I can open my mouth, before I can say a word. He hears my heart thirsting for him. Yeah, he does. He has come to meet me at the well. Yeah, he has. Hallelujah. And at any given time, when you'll turn off this world. I said something last night that sounds a little odd, I suppose. That you're in a room of people and they're all talking and you can't even hear their voices. You know they're talking, you see them, and it's because the warfare in your mind is so great that you're so caught up in this warfare in your mind. You're not even hearing them. You know they're talking. You may even hear sounds, but you can't. It's like you're in another world because you're so clouded with the battle that's raging in your life until you can't even hardly connect with him. It's like you're in another world. Well, I'm telling you, he sees you when you're there. And when you pull away to get in a private place and you battle it, I don't care. I've done it. I had roommates for years. And I'd go to my bathroom and I'd shut the door and I'd turn on the shower. shower. I didn't get in it. I just turned it on. I wanted that water to make noise because I needed some privacy. And I'd go in the bathroom and turn on the shower and shut the little shower curtain. And I'd put the seat down on the toilet, and I'd sit down on that toilet seat and bow my head, and he'd meet me in the bathroom. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I worked a job in Cleveland, Tennessee in a pharmacy where, and I had been off drugs for maybe just a few years, and maybe actually about a year. Now I'm handing pills out to everybody in this pharmacy. And so the enemy would begin to torment my mind and try to sucker me back in and pull me back because of the stress in life and the battles and the storms. You need this, here's a vitamin, here's this, here's that. And so I shut the drawer that I was working on as a pharmacy technician, and I'd go down the hallway to the bathroom, and I'd lock the door and turn on the sink, the water in the sink, because I needed some privacy. Hallelujah. And I'd kneel down on that old nasty bathroom floor. But I'd kneel down at that toilet. Yeah, I would. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And in just a moment, when I bowed my head, he'd meet me in that public bathroom. Hallelujah. That's what I'm talking about. He knows you're thirsty, and he knows where your thirst is coming from. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made out here. He knows that you've got a thirst that you've tried to fill with a lot of things that this world has to offer, that this world cannot satisfy. The thirst that you have, the only water that's going to satisfy that thirst is that living water that comes from his well. Hallelujah. It doesn't come from Jacob's well. It comes from his well. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Lord.
So here's my question. I'm going to take you to school. Here's my question. What are you substituting for your thirst?
Yeah.
When you get thirsty, do you turn to TV to make you happy? When you get thirsty, do you go to social media to make you happy? When you get thirsty, do you go to the mall to make you happy? When you get thirsty, are you, I don't know what guys do, fishing, hunting, four-wheeling. I don't know what they do. Are you doing that? There's nothing, listen, you understand? Ain't nothing wrong with social media. Ain't nothing wrong with TV. Ain't nothing wrong with going to the mall. Ain't nothing wrong with hunting and fishing. Ain't nothing wrong with going, working on cars and all that other stuff. It's only wrong when you're using it as a replacement for him calling you. When he's pulling on your heartstrings and he's wooing you and you're replacing fellowship with something this world has. That's what becomes wrong. It's not the thing that's wrong. It's the way that we replace our fellowship with God.
Thank you, Lord.
I want to substitute my fellowship with Jesus Christ with anything this world has to offer. And so what am I trying to do to bring peace into my life? You know, years ago, many years ago before I married, I wanted to be married and I wasn't. And I was getting older. I was in my late 20s. Oh no, I was in my middle 30s. Forget that. I married at 38. And so I was in my middle 30s and I wanted to get married. I went married and wasn't going to get married because I wasn't dating. So pretty sure I wasn't going to get married. And so I was lonely. And I was traveling by myself and living on the road and spending all day in a McDonald's parking lot eating cheeseburgers and drinking coffee and reading my Bible. And so I was lonely. I was eating my supper on my days off in a recliner. It was a microwave meal that I stuck in the microwave. And I sat down in front of the TV set to eat because I just wanted noise in the house. And so I was lonely. And so when that loneliness would begin to bother me, instead of going to Jesus, sometimes I just go to the mall. Or I just go to Walmart. I just go anywhere. And I'd go buy me something to make me feel better. It didn't have to be expensive. I might go in and just buy a little kitchen towel that was pretty to hang in my kitchen, to full of kitchen towels. And
Bless the Lord.
I'm telling you, we can build another house to put the stuff in that's in the house. Amen. Amen. That's true. Because I caught myself trying to satisfy my thirst with not bad things, not drugs, not alcohol. We're not sinners. Not even talking about that. But I was trying to replace him with something I could touch. He doesn't want me to do that. He doesn't want us to go to anything else to satisfy our thirst.
Amen.
He wants us to come to him and let him satisfy that longing in our
Yes,
soul.
that's right.
Amen. And so what are we doing? I want you to be aware, because I caught myself. And so I want you to be aware of what we're doing to, and what are we seeking after to try to bring peace into our life. If you have a day that you have, I like what Brother Mark said. He said, I was having a rough day. And he said, I told them I'm going to have to get away. He said, I just got in my truck and took a drive. Well, you know why? Because STOP. Hallelujah.
Yeah, that's right. Amen.
You stop, you breathe. You look around at the landmarks. Think about where you're going, what you're doing, how you got here. Have a plan. Instead of going off in a rant, or instead of going out and trying to get something to make you feel better, you just get off by yourself, because he gets in your truck. And when he gets in your truck, everything is better. Amen. And so he wants us not to serve him, but also use other things to bring us the satisfaction that he wants to come from him. You know, he's a jealous God. He wants to bring us peace. He don't want me to get my peace from anything this world has, because it's artificial and temporary. He wants to give me a peace that passes all understanding. He doesn't want my joy to come from, and he doesn't mind that I'm involved in things, but he doesn't want that to be my joy. My joy comes from my fellowship with him. Now you can do things and go do whatever you do. You know, I don't know, go to a ball game or have dinners together, go fishing, go hunting, do all those things. But he doesn't want you to use that as a replacement. He wants your joy to be drawn from him. He wants your peace to be drawn from him. Amen. Amen. And then here's another thing. When that woman at the well met Jesus and he gave her living water, she was just doing what she does every day. This wasn't a special day. This wasn't a Saturday at 1 o'clock day. This wasn't a Friday night day. This was just a regular day. It's the same thing she did every day of her life. She had to go to the well at high noon. And so he met her in her everyday life. And so he don't want to wait to meet us on Friday night. And he don't want to wait to meet us at 1 o'clock on Saturday. He wants to meet with you all during the course of your week, in your everyday life. He wants to walk with you and talk with you and reveal himself to you, not just on the weekend, but on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Just in the middle of what you're doing that day. Amen. He wants to meet with you in your everyday life. We don't have to become something different for God to visit with us. He wants to visit us right where we are. He wants to come right to where you live. He went right to, I've said this last night, he went right to where Jeremiah was in the dungeon. He went right to where Daniel was in the lion's den. He went right to where Shadrach was in the fiery furnace, went to where Hagar was in the desert, went to where Elijah was under the juniper tree. He met him in their everyday life in a time of need. And so he wants to meet us. We don't have, listen, you don't even have to have an appointment. You can make an appointment. We have one, 7 o'clock on Friday, 1 o'clock on Saturday. But you don't have to have an appointment to meet with him. Anytime.
Yes. Hallelujah. Yes. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah, Jesus. Yes, Jesus. Yes.
Anytime.
Have your way, Lord.
Anytime you'll bow your head.
Yeah.
Anytime you'll clear your thought. Anytime you shut everything else out of your life, He'll meet with you. It can be a last minute thing. You don't even have to send Him an email ahead of time. The minute your head drops, and your spirit goes tender, like the woman did when she said, I've heard the Messiah will come. There it is. Everything's about to change. It's going to change now. So the minute that your heart becomes tender, storm raging all around your life, and right in the middle of it, stop, drop your head, and there He is. He wants to meet you in your everyday life. Amen. And He wants to fix whatever's going wrong in your life. Amen. 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 Then she did something that just, I love this. I've said this over and over again, but I'm going to take it back. For years I said she cast down her water pot because it was a symbol of what she was, and now she wasn't that anymore. But that ain't even true. And so I'm going to change that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with me. And the reason is because all the women carried water pots. And so it was not a symbol of who she was. She threw it down at His feet, signifying, I'll be back to get it. I just got to run into town. But she didn't take the water pot. She left it here, meaning I'll be back. I'm not going very far away. Oh, hallelujah. And so she threw down her water pot and ran. Now watch this. She ran to the very city that she's hiding from. She ran to the very, a city full of women that she knew hated her, that she had avoided, that had put their nose up in the air. And she, all of a sudden, it don't even matter anymore. You know why? Something happened to that woman. She took a drink of that living water. She don't care what anybody said. She don't care what anybody thinks. She don't care if they accept her, they don't accept her. Everybody needs to know. Everybody needs to know that I have met a man that's told me everything I've ever done. Have I not found the Christ? And she runs into Sychar and she begins to cry aloud. I've met a man that told me everything I've ever done. Is this not the Christ? And the very men that avoided her, watch her. The very women that hated her, turn their eyes on her. Now why? Why is it that after all this time that they've avoided her and hated her, now they believe her? There's something in her countenance that's changed. This woman that's running into Sychar, she don't even have the same countenance as the woman that was there before. You know why? She's not thirsty anymore. She has living water. She's drank from a well that never shall run dry. And so they see something in her countenance, that something's happened to her at the well. And I don't know what happened to her at the well, but we're going to the well to find out. Hallelujah. And the Bible said the men came out. Not just the men. They just didn't talk about us back then. Everybody from Sychar came out to the well to see what has happened to that woman, that she's not the same woman that used to go to the well. Hallelujah! Now what's going to transform the lives of our family and our neighborhood and our city and our nation? They're going to, God, they're going to have to see something other than Samaritan.
That's good.
I'm just going to tell you, America's hungry for something more than a Samaritan. They don't want to see a Christian that can come to church one time a week and not every week, but about 1 out of 4 weeks.
Oh, Jesus.
That's not what America's hungry for.
No.
Now I'm just going to tell you. I can talk about this because I've lived it. Drug addicts ain't going to the Christian bookstore.
No.
You're not going to catch them in the Christian bookstore looking for a King James Version, red letter edition, leatherback Bible.
No.
It ain't going to happen.
Right, amen.
And so they're going to have to see you on the street somewhere. something that designates us that we're different. When that woman ran into Sychar, they looked at her and said, what has happened to that woman? What has happened to her? She runs through town, and they're listening to her, and they're believing her so much that they follow her all the way back to the well. The very ones that despised her, now she has become believable. What is it about her countenance that has so captivated them that they have to follow her to the well? That's what America's looking for. They don't want a Christian that serves God with the right hand and serves the world with the left hand.
Amen. Amen.
Well, I know it's on YouTube, but
Come on.
here's the truth. America ain't looking for a sipping saint.
Yeah.
No. Bless her, Lord. No. Go ahead.
My sister went to a conference years ago, and before she gave her heart to the Lord, and it was with her work, and she went to the bar at the end of the conference, at the end of the evening. She was in a major hotel chain, big fancy hotel, with a Christian Pentecostal church group that was having their to-do at this huge big hotel in Louisville. And she called me, and her heart was broke. You know why? Because she's raised with my little old mama that's a praying mama, and she knew what was right. But if she was living it or not, she knew what was right.
Yeah.
And she called me and said, guess who's in the bar? With me. I said, who? She said, them church folk. They didn't even take their badges off. You'd think if you were a Pentecostal, you would at least take the name of your church off your badge if you was going to go to the bar and drink.
Jesus.
I ain't talking about something I don't know. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
The world don't want a Samaritan. They want a Jew.
Yes.
They want somebody sold out for Jesus Christ. Not somebody that's living for God one day and living like the rest of them. Oh, hey, I ain't going to tell you nothing they ain't already put out on the news. So you can get mad at me if you want to. I read it yesterday in the news. I forget the number because I didn't write it down because I'm trying to forget it. But among one of the denominationals, I'm not going to name a denomination because I got no stones to throw. But among one of the denominations, and it's not the Catholic Church, so get that out of your mind. But among one of the denominations, they have discovered that there are thousands of pastors, youth leaders, Sunday school teachers, and guidance counselors in these churches that have been molesting young girls. They have 700 young people that have came out, and the leaders have admitted that they have done this, some for years, all the way down to 3 years old. Now listen to me. America don't want a Samaritan. Somebody that with their mouth says that I love Jesus Christ, but with their life are living like the devil. That won't get you off of drugs. They want something that'll keep them off of drugs.
Amen.
That won't get you off of pornography. They want something that'll get... And if I'm going to church and the pastor is having an affair with a 15-year-old, how's he going to deliver me from pornography? Amen. You understand what I'm saying? It's a little tough. But this is where the rubber meets the road. America is sick and tired of a Samaritan church. She don't want a Samaritan church. She wants a Jewish church. She wants a church that has one God. Hallelujah. And she's in love with Him. And she has laid down over her eyes. Hallelujah. 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 America wants to see men and women. Listen, here's what they want. Here's what they want. Here's your forefathers. Peter walked down the street. When the sun touched him, they tore it up in little pieces, and they sent runners out in every direction, and every city they went into, they laid his material that had been on his body, and they laid it on the sick, and they were healed, and laid it on the demon possessed, and they were delivered. That's what I'm talking about. That's behind you. And if that's behind you, it's also in front of you. If that's where we've been, hallelujah, there's your landmark. Then that's where we're going. But somewhere in the middle, the church is sold out, and she's giving in to, oh, I know, it's just a little bit here and a little bit there, and it don't look so bad. But here's what happens. If you don't put that fire out, it gets bigger and burns brighter until the next thing you know, it's hard to get to church on a Saturday. It's hard to read your Bible, and it's hard to pray, and it's hard to get in. It's all you can do to show up. Oh, I don't want to be a Samaritan. Baptize me all over again in your precious love. Wash me in your blood, and I shall be made whiter than snow. And here's what happens. A woman that has been a part-time worshiper and part-time idol worshiper has an encounter with the Lord Jesus. She leaves her water pot, signifying I'll be right back. I got some business to tend to. Lord, have mercy. I can about say that. I'll be right back. I have some business. I'll meet you here in the morning. Or I'll meet you here tonight. Or I could about tell him, I'll be back. Because I was with him from the beginning. When the morning stars sang together. Oh, hallelujah. We were hid with Christ in God. So I could tell him, I'll be back. Hallelujah. That's what he told me. I'll be back. And I'm holding to his word.
Yes.
I could say the same thing.
Amen.
I'll be back. But right now, there's a mission field right here in America. Hallelujah. That needs to be reached. And we have backsliders that have gotten so disillusioned in the church that they want to see the real. They don't want to see anything watered down. They don't want to water down gospel. They don't want to water down relationship. They don't want to water down walk with God. They want to see men and women on fire for God. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. So here the woman runs into town. All the city comes out. They sit down around the well.